we're going to play taps for Cole Carter here in a minute because that they did him wrong. Like I could, they literally picked the person that is on the roster that nobody would have known
Yeah,
instead of just like
if
an
commentary
extra.
didn't say that's Cole Carter, I would have no idea.
Right. I mean, I even kind of knew who Cole Carter is. I mean, he's been there for a while, but it just took me a minute. Like, you don't see, like, he's not even on Darker Elevation. Like, I haven't seen him in like 3 months.
Yeah. I'm
So
glad
it was
that
like,
the
who is that?
reveal turned out to be a second reveal because
Which
if that was the old I think they was parted on purpose that they had
exactly?
it
That's what I
happen
was
like
just gonna
that.
say.
Because
That's
if
what I was
that was
just.
the only reveal, like if that was the big
Oh,
surprise,
oh, that would have been terrible.
that I was just thinking like first they had the Satnam Singh reveal that everyone hated, and then they had
Yes.
this like Jay Lethal's thing is like disappointing surprises. Like,
that would that would be the greatest gimmick ever.
and every week you hype up a huge surprise, and it's like some guy no one's ever heard of.
Right. Right. Like, yeah, when Excalibur doesn't even know who you are. Like,
You hear him like rifling through his notes. That's
yeah.
hold on a second.
Yeah. He wrestled one time in West Newton, Pennsylvania at a fire hall. Like,
This is according to Wikipedia. I don't actually know who this is.
it, I definitely think it was done on purpose and done like that's the exact reaction they wanted to let the crowd down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I did text you definitely after we got the real reveal, which was that was more of a surprise than Cole Carter.
Yes.
I would have never guessed that we were going to see Jeff Jarrett.
No, there's no way. You could have had me pick 100 names, and I don't think I would have picked Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, I agree with you. First off, I forgot that he was a free agent. Like literally, he was just working for WWE like
Right.
8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But the swerve with Cole Carter, then Double J coming out. That was so well done.
It was really cool, and the fact that you touched on the fact that the Cole Carter thing was such a dud made it even better.
Made it yeah. That like I said, I felt bad for Cole Carter because after I saw Double J, I was like, oh, they did that perfectly. But I felt bad for Cole Carter knowing that if it was on purpose, they literally had to sit down and say, okay, who's the least popular person on the roster?
And then they had to pitch it. They had to pitch it to him like that. Like, okay, we're gonna have you be the reveal. Nobody cares about you. Nobody knows who you are or cares. So, but that's gonna be that's part of it. We want somebody who will get zero reaction from the crowd.
Right. Now that if it's a Double J and Impact's involved, him and Bobby Fish can have a match on who's going to be the least well received individual.
Great.
Great stuff.
So what do you think's going to happen with Jeff Jarrett and like Double J? Is this sounds like it's like an invasion angle?
Yeah. I even wrote that down. Impact invasion, possibly. I mean, his job title basically says I should start an invasion angle because he's what's he like? He's director of company growth or something.
Yeah, like I think it's live event. Like he does
Live
live event
events.
stuff.
That's what it is. That's so of course, like more people you have to pitch to venues, the better. So
yeah, that's my little nitpick on this. That like he's invading the AEW as like an invasive force, but like clearly he works for the like we know he works for the company. Right. Tony Khan went out and told us. Like, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me. But it is a little weird that he would be like, this guy hates AEW, but he's also signed to AEW. Like, okay.
Yes. And just his wrestling mind is going to be just to have around, just for an opinion. Like his mind is very.
Yeah, I'm one of the people. I know Jeff Jarrett. If you read I don't know if you read any reaction online. Surprisingly, it was negative.
Yeah.
I might be one of the only people who really likes Jeff Jarrett. Like I really like Jeff Jarrett. I think he's a good like on screen. I think he's like a good character. I think he's I like him.
always kind of reminds me of like kind of like how we always say Christian, like Double J just happened to be in like it was a good worker, but just happened to be in the wrong era. Like
Right.
if he would have peaked in the late 90s instead of the early 90s, or no, I shouldn't say peaked, if he wouldn't have come to fame in the early 90s instead of the I keep saying that backwards. He was too early. That's what we're gonna
Yeah.
say.
He also
But
had very bad timing in terms of which company he worked for. Like he worked for
yes,
WWF when WCW was getting hot, and then
yes,
he left, and then WWF got hot, and then
yeah,
he left and went back to WWF, and then went back to WCW before it failed. He had terrible timing as to which company he was going to work for.
yeah. And I mean, I will give him credit. He stuck with. Well, did he start? Yeah, he started TNA, correct?
Yeah.
He started TNA, and then it was bought out eventually by the Impact Group or whoever they
Was
are.
eventually first it was bought out by Dixie Carter, and then it was bought out
Oh,
by
that's right.
the people who run it now.
That's right. I forgot Dixie Carter owned it.
Yeah.
And then whoever owns it now, but he still had something to do with it, correct?
For a while. Yeah. Then he had this weird situation where he founded a company called Global Force Wrestling,
Oh, I didn't know that was his.
and then merged it with TNA, but there was no Global Force Wrestling. Like he merged a company that didn't exist.
Oh,
Basically, like merged a company that had no roster essentially with TNA, but then
okay.
they unmerged it, and he reformed a different. It was confusing, but
I got you.
so it definitely seems like it's an invasion angle. I was thinking about
Yes.
this, and ROH invaded Impact recently. The Kingdom was a part of it, with
Oh,
their Honor No More situation. So I don't know if you heard that they had a faction called Honor No More. A couple of Ring of Honor people
I did not
invade.
know that.
They
Okay.
invaded Impact. So I'm thinking maybe this is Impact invading ROH, which would be interesting. But also, Jarrett mentioned AEW a lot. He didn't mention ROH.
Correct.
So I don't know. Having Impact and AEW and ROH and, like, as we know later, New Japan guys all on the show, that could be really cool. It could be like a really fun, cool
Yeah.
thing to have on the show. Or it could just get confusing and mean like a lot of people would be on TV and not other people wouldn't be. Like, I don't know how they're going to go with it. I think if they do it properly, it could be really cool, but it could also end up being like kind of confusing.
I agree. We're gonna give Tony the benefit of the doubt for now. Because I mean, what he always seems to pull out of left field is amazing. So, but he can't always do that. You
Right.
know, he has been very lucky. Like, I mean, just we always talk about with the injuries he had this summer, he still pulled out shows that were almost unthinkable.
Right. Like,
And,
given the number of guys who were gone from like Forbidden Door and they still had
right.
a outstanding show. But
Yeah.
yeah, you never know what's going to happen. I am slightly worried that if they bring in, a bunch of new guys to be with Jarrett, then they also have the ROH guys, they also have the New Japan guys, and then
Right.
like that could be a lot. And we've said a million times, like Tony Khan can only do so many things. Like he can't. I know he wants to do everything, but it's a little like if he's going to be booking now 10 extra guys in addition to the guys he's already booking, like it could become but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe that's why he has people like Jarrett now to help with other stuff. Yeah.
And that's like he saw that he had a problem or was gonna have a problem, and he addressed it early, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want to say he got over his head because I mean he runs a professional football team that has to in itself be way more complicated than wrestling. Just saying.
Yeah. But just like the number of things that he's doing.
Exactly. That there was, yeah. He doesn't run an entire football team. You know, he has a staff, and he knows that. And now he's starting to build a staff in AEW,
Right.
which is to me, it's coming off as very smart right now because he's making all the right moves.
I do really like just in terms of the experience. I mean, Jeff Jarrett probably would have still been working for WWF if they didn't have the whole changeover with Vince leaving and Triple H coming. Like basically, Jeff Jarrett got released there because they wanted to hire Road Dogg back, essentially.
Right.
So that wasn't anything Double J did wrong. That was just management changed, and we have different people now.